A warm welcome back to the Forensic Detailing channel. Do not forget to subscribe. It's freezing cold. Today we're revisiting an old icon. It sounds bizarre to say an old icon, but I remember it must have been about 4 or 5 years ago when this came out and it was launched at SEMA. And I first saw this product and thought, Jesus, that looks really sexy. I really wanted to try it. The little raised beads on the label I thought were cool. And it was a technical product. So what is it? Meguiars hybrid ceramic wax with advanced SiO2 technology, which was a sort of ceramic products were a big thing back then and a little bit rare. And Meguiars launching this ceramic wax was a bit of an occasion. So it boasted ceramic made easy, protection and durability beyond conventional wax, spray on, rinse off and dry. So perhaps easier to apply than traditional kind of paste waxes or sealants that require spreading, curing and buffing all over the car. You can get this on and off a lot quicker. Let's just do some due diligence. The Meguiars hybrid ceramic wax at the time of filming this right now costs £25 for 768 millilitres, which sounds a little bit pricey, but 768 is about an extra 50% on your 500ml offerings. So if I compare it there to the Autoglim Rapid Ceramics, that's 1880 for 500ml. So it's a similar sort of price when you think you add about another £9 on top of that. It might even be more expensive. You tell me and do the maths. The Turtle Wax Hybrid Solutions ceramic wax, very similar type product, is cheaper, but not much at £15.99 for 500ml. So these are a direct comparison on price on what's on the shelf at Halfords. You can also buy this cheaper. It's available from so many different places. I found it for as cheap as like £17. Sometimes Halfords sell it on discounts and all that, so you can beat that price, but I'm giving you like the official price. These prices here an example of how cheap you can really go with something like Koch Chemie Protector Wax, which is £25 for a litre, but it's a concentrate where you take a small amount of that product, mix it out with water and build up a whole litre decanted, of product. So the value for money for this is going to exceed any of these products. But another price comparison as well is something like Geon Wet Coat. You can pick up for £24 for a litre. So similar price, but you can get more. So a general summary of the price is it's pretty much on the market and it's okay. It sounds expensive at 25 because of the 768. It can be beaten. You can go high value, high concentrate, but with these ready mix products that you often pay a little bit more. Yes, this is also a retail product and Meguiars will sell bulk chemicals. No doubt they'll have a spray and rinse that you could buy 5 litres of or a US gallon, whatever it's called. Okay, so there's our due diligence on price. I want to talk about using this product first of all, guys, and we're just going to step outside. Over here, I've got a panel which is dirty and needs cleaning. It's quite grubby actually. So what I'll just do is rinse this panel off. Just get some water. You can see this panel is now it's pretty flat. It's just flat, but it's all covered in dirt and contamination. So I've got some pure shampoo on this panel. Let's just get it going. Get a bit. There's someone that filmed with the shampoo, so I'm just cleaning off this panel like you're cleaning a car. And this panel could probably do with claying to get the full prep, but we'll get it clean, just like we would if we were washing a car. Okay, so that, in fact, I'll flip it over because this will get a bit more bite this side. There we go. I want to get this reasonably clean. And we'll rinse that off. It's a little bit cleaner, but it's still, whatever's on there is still dead. Now, what you would do with this product, and this was perhaps something where you've got to be a little bit cautious because this is a quick product to apply, but if you rush with any product, you introduce risks. When you rush with a spray and rinse, you risk not getting full coverage perhaps, and you rush, if you spray it over an entire car without following the instructions, you might get better performance in one particular area where the product lands and less performance where you haven't spread it. So Meguiars I think advise with this that when you spray it out, your first coat, you just spread it. Or, you know, you can use your drying towel to spread it. You could use a wet microfiber towel, whatever. And that just means that you get material over the entire part of the panel you're applying for your first application. After your first application, you can spray it onto a panel and rinse. How much should you use? Well, on a bonnet, you would use between 2 and 3 squirts. On a wing, you'd use 1 squirt. On a door, you'd use 1 squirt. You know, the danger is don't go hurling this on, okay? So we'll hurl it on. So what I'm going to do is, let's just make sure we're spraying, we're shaking it. Okay, so what we'll do is just do 1 squirt. Okay, always feels like it's not enough. Always feels like it's not enough, but these products are strong. And we'll just spread it with a drying towel, okay? Because I think that's what they say in the instructions. So we'll just spread that material over a panel for that first application as we dry it. So you can imagine doing that over the entire car. Now, the cool thing about this product is anything else, you know, you would be spreading like you see me doing the waxes and you spread it all over the car. That takes about half an hour. Then you wait like 20 minutes for it to dry. Then you go and buff it all and then you buff it again. And that can take like half an hour. So it could take you an hour to put on like a sealant or a paste wax. Whereas this, you could literally apply it to your car. You could apply it to your car in seconds. And I think kind of what you're seeing here was one of the main claim to fames with this product, was that it's rapid and it's very hydrophobic. Where we haven't got it, we've got nothing. Even where we've just got a tiny little bit of over rub from the drying, just rubbing that drying towel over this section has just brought it to life. That is impressive. But you can even see, interestingly, that just that little bit there isn't as well applied. So where you get the film is really important. Once we've got that initial application, we'd wash off the car and we'd rinse the car and there'd be rinse water on it. And we would just mist, most of that blew away, but we would just mist product onto it. And then you'd go around and rinse off the car completely. You see that little white film there? So now we've got a bit more product on that bit that wasn't quite as beady. And the hydrophobicity is impressive. If I was blasting that with a pressure washer, it would look more beady and more kind of rapid. But you can see, for no effort, you've actually put down some really juicy protection. When you've got that juicy protection on your car, the car is just so easy to kind of dry, you know, the water wants to come off of the panel. So you can dry it. When it's wet, like this is wet, you never get back to that bare panel so easily. Like if you know, you can see the water kind of streaking around and you're kind of having to dry the car. When you've got fresh protection, drying the car is really easy. So there we go. So that is why I think, let's just bring this in with us. What that demonstration that I've just done there is why products like this are so popular, because you've just saved yourself literally an hour's time against older fashioned formats of car protection. And anyone using this is going to notice when it rains that their car is really well protected and really well beady. So there's your advantage of spray and rinse products, and there's why brands like kind of Meguiars and all of the main brands have these offerings. Because when I did a survey of my patrons, about 2/3, roughly 68%, I think it was, or maybe 65, something like that, said that they've now moved from using paste waxes and sealants over to sort of ceramic detail sprays or ceramic spray sealants, spray and rinse sealants, all that sort of stuff. So if you're a detailing brand and you don't have that offering, and you've stuck with a wax, you're losing 2/3 of the market. And that's why it's really important for detailing brands to offer lots of different options in their range. Okay, so we know about the strengths of this product. How long does it last on a car panel? If you put down that foundation layer and you do it properly and you've got all the good coverage, that beading should stick around on your car for like 3 to 6 months, depending on loads of variables that we already know. But for the first couple of months, it should be really, really beady. Durability of this product is good, and it's always tested well on durability and like chemical resistance. It's always done really well in those tests, and I think you can go back and look at all of those videos. We've compared it hundreds of times. It's always done well. But the thing with this product is, because it's so rapid, I think you're less worried about durability because you'll want to use it again. If you only ever use this product once every 6 months, for example, that bottle, you'll struggle to get through it. So you want to try and use this stuff up. So don't really worry about durability. How much chemical do you actually need to use when you apply it to a car subsequently? We've talked about it. 2 or 3 squirts per panel, 1 per wing. You could do an entire car with between 10 and 15 squirts, which is not a lot of chemical. The bottom line is, if this was your only car protection product, that bottle should last you well over a year, even if you're using it heavily. And I would just encourage you to use these products and try and use them all up, because, you know, if you got them and you haven't used them 4 or 5 years later, I don't find they're quite as good as when you get them fresh out the bottle. But I haven't encountered any problems with this Meguiars product spoiling or going bad if it is kept longer. I've had 2 bottles of this. That's the 3rd one, and they've all been fine on that front. So we know what the advantages are. Good durability, good hydrophobicity, very rapid to apply. What are the disadvantages? If you use Meguiars hybrid ceramic wax in the summer and the panels are hot and you spray it onto a panel and you're too close and you get a big thick kind of like splattering in one area and you don't immediately spread it and it gets a chance to dry, then you can get that sort of, it's like a high spot of product which is dried in one place, a streak mark almost. There was lots of people in the comments saying that it was streaky when they applied it. If you apply it properly, you should be okay, but there is a risk with this format of product that can happen. So don't fall into that category, you know, of getting a bad application, because it is relatively easy to apply. The other risk with it is, because it's a really thick, white, concentrated product, if you keep using it too often, I find you can get that kind of white filming or a slight dullness on the paint. And you don't get that when you use something like Meguiars M21 and you spread it and you cure it and you buff it to a shine. You don't get that with the Meguiars Gold Class wax. So any film forming product that's concentrated and strong and white, be careful about just using too much of it on subsequent washes. It is a powerful product. And that's, again, why Meguiars, I think, have a hybrid ceramic quick detailer spray that you could use every single wash, you know, so without those kind of risks of over applying. But generally speaking, if you don't over apply this and don't use it too often, you should be absolutely fine. So there are the things to consider with the products. There are the strengths of the products. Meguiars hybrid ceramic wax, if you want to know how good it is, you'll struggle to find another spray and rinse that beads as well as it, you know, and lasts as well as on a panel as the Meguiars hybrid ceramic wax. And I think that's quite a cool feature. Yeah, so it is an impressive product. It's still very relevant in today's market because that spray and rinse technology hasn't moved on. There is another real feather in the cap of this particular product, and we mentioned this years ago, that you can, when you buy this bottle, you can decant some of it and just like, so decant like 100 ml or 200 ml and mix it with DI water so it's thinner, looser, and use it as something more like a detail spray or a spray and rinse that you use a little bit more often, and then you get like a free bottle of product. You can do that with this because I did it and it works. It isn't a quick detailer though, so if you are going to decant and mix it out, use it more as a lightweight spray and rinse in between kind of washes if you want to use it more frequently. That's where I'd recommend doing this. You are going off piste though when you do that. So if you want the results and the product claims, you use it as the manufacturers advise and instruct you. Yeah, Meguiars hybrid ceramic wax for me is still a sexy looking product, well branded. They know this is a strong selling point and it deserves to be on the label. It beads really, really well and it's pretty impressive stuff. Yeah, so we're very experienced with this product now. Back in the day when I first looked at it, it was all like, you didn't know if you're getting your review bang on. This is a known quantity product and everything I told you about the product I think is good information to know if you haven't tried it and you want to. Just be careful with not over applying it and be careful with it in the heat. The same as any spray and rinse product, but this stuff will serve you well. Dan goes through this stuff a lot. He sprays it into the jet stream as a little hack so that when you spray it in, it sort of like mixes with the water as it goes onto the panel, and that can work as well. I find if you do that, you can end up using more product than you perhaps need to actually, and you don't know where a lot of it's going, so I don't tend to do that. I do like the tip of with your first application, just get a wet microfiber and do the spread with a wet microfiber and then towel it, because you definitely get that coverage when you spread it with that. It's all wet and white and you see it and you spread it over that panel and then dry it. You know that you've gone edge to edge and you've got it over your entire panel. So with those other genres that take longer, like M21 and Meguiars Gold Class Wax, the advantage of them taking so long is when you apply it and you spread it all out over this entire panel and it sits there and cures off, you know you've got good advantage, you know, you've got good covering and your whole panel beads, you don't get that inconsistency. So you can use your technique to make sure you get that with this product. The more casually you use it, the more you perhaps won't get that full coverage. But if your first application is good, your subsequent applications are going to be harder to notice that particular issue. So just make sure you get the coverage. That's it. Still very relevant. If you're going to buy the product, there's loads of deals on it all the time because Meguiars are a massive brand and it's often discounted in Halfords. Buy it when it's discounted, use it, enjoy it, and it will serve you well. It can also go on top of existing protection. That panel wasn't properly prepped and it's bonded straight on top of that. But as always, if you do full prep, the product's probably going to get a better bond. But I've used this on top of paste waxes. It's gone on top of ceramic coatings. It can go on top of anything. Okay, guys, let me know in the comments your thoughts on this particular one. Other than that, take care and I'll see you soon.